All right.
You remember the short intro, yeah, with the objectively best,
Sure.
and then I would say general discussion as opposed to following the format strictly. If you
Sure.
remember from last time, yeah.
Yeah.
Just have a general, then top three, and then overall, yeah.
Sure.
Cool. Sorry.
Oh. Oh, cool.
That edit software better be working.
Welcome to another Review Crew episode. Today we're the crew. What's our podcast? We're the record players. Sorry, this show is the Review Crew. I'm Dennis. I'm here with Hattie and Jack. We are the record players, objectively the best opinion in music. So today we're going to be looking at Benny the Butcher, The Plugs I Met 2. Benny the Butcher is a rapper from Buffalo, New York. Not many rappers from Buffalo, New York that I can think of off the top of my head. But there is a scene over there. Benny the Butcher is in a group called Griselda with his two cousins. I think it's West Side Gun and Conway the Machine, I think.
I know they were cousins.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's all in the family.
Cocaine cousins.
Yeah. Benny the Butcher just released The Plugs I Met 2 sequel. Well, the spiritual sequel to The Plugs I Met 1. In between then and now, it recorded another album. I can't remember what it. Do you remember what it was off the top of your head?
Yeah, I listened to it, but I can't remember the name.
Yeah, me neither.
Sorry, Benny.
Burden of Proof.
Burden of Proof. Yeah.
That's it. But apparently, this album, Plugs I Met 2, has been in the works since The Plugs I Met 1. So it is sort of the spiritual successor, even though there's been multiple EPs and albums in between. Plugs I Met 1 released 2019, Plugs I Met 2 2021. Right. Let's get into it. Initial thoughts. Let's start with Jack. What were your initial thoughts going into Benny the Butcher, Plugs I Met 2? Yeah, I'm the same.
Right, you had a pigeonhole of what the album was going to be, and it might have exceeded that. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Well, I thought you had more to say there. Yeah. Let's just get some initial impressions.
I think we blew our load at the beginning there before we realised we were live.
Yeah.
We've had a week off.
So I hadn't thought sort of along the lines. Well, actually, I didn't know what to think going into it either. I mean, I listened to WWCD, What Would Sheen Gun Do, from Griselda, and I liked it. But I liked one of the reasons why I liked it is it was a hip hop collective. I'm a huge fan of hip hop collectives. Tribe Called Quest. I could name it. I love them. I just recently got into the Far Side. That's just been
love the Far Side.
Love the Far Side. Love
dude running, drop, classics.
But yeah, I've been bumping those first two albums, quite a lot recently. So I listened to Griselda, and part of the reason why I liked it was it's a hip hop group, but I hadn't listened to Benny's solo stuff so much. They do work together as a whole, but I hadn't delved into Benny's solo stuff. So I went into it with an open mind, and I didn't expect that I didn't expect a bit of a throwback. Like you mentioned,
into it with an
Jack,
open mind.
that you were expecting that sort of throwback to the '90s, or 90s era hip
Yeah,
hop.
yeah, that's what I said.
Just look at the cover.
True.
Yeah.
True. This sounds to me a bit more like later, a bit like early 2000s, a bit like early 50 Cent, like gangster rap style.
Well, that's the vibe you got from the album.
That's the vibe I got from the album. Yeah, a bit of a throwback to the mid 2000s.
I got a much more like or not early, but like Jay-Z
Blueprint-ish.
up to Black Album sort of vibe from it. Yeah.
I haven't heard any. I'm not a big Jay-Z fan, to be honest with you.
I mean, there's a couple of tracks here that remind me of like Wu-Tang stuff, especially production-wise.
All right, we'll get into it. Howdy, initial thoughts?
Yeah, man. Well, so I did listen to the previous album that I forget the name of, Burden of Proof, and I thought it was alright. It didn't blow me away, but I like Benny as a rapper. Now going into this, I actually really, really liked it, particularly the production. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of boom bap production, especially with like modern hip hop. I'm not generally, my thought is if you're going to come with like a kind of boom bap sample based style, you've got to do something really inventive to catch my eye, just because production these days is so all over the place with like a kind of synthesized and programmed production. But this is obviously a heavily sample based sound, which kind of harkens back to a previous era. But and the whole album was produced by Harry Fraud, right? So it was a one rapper, one producer combo, which is cool. I've not heard of Harry Fraud, but he fucking kills it on every single beat, man.
This is apparently the first project they've done together as well.
First joint.
Yeah,
dude,
the track Thanksgiving is the first track they made together, according to their info.
I need to hear this guy's production on more rappers that kind of have that kind of old school edge, because it's like I said, it's so cinematic but smooth. There's so much detail. He switches up the sample so often. It was just amazing. And like I said, for me, that's not necessarily going into a hip hop project wanting to hear very sample boom bap based thing. I was blown away by how good it is. On the rap side, I liked it too. I thought pretty much all of the features did well. Benny was solid. He's kind of, he has his lane. He has that street rapper lane. And I kind of find like he's not in the upper echelon that you'd have like guys like Pusha T or Freddie Gibbs, but he's like just a tier below in terms of he talks the same shit, but he keeps it interesting. So yeah, overall, I was pretty impressed.
Fair play. Yeah, I've heard of Harry Fraud before. He produced Sob Stories by what's the guy's name? Sob
like
Stories by the fat guy, the big fat guy that
Fat
Joe who's on this?
No, Action Bronson. That's
it.
Okay.
Right on the
that
tip
makes
of my
sense
tongue.
now. Yeah.
Dude, he's called Action Bronson the fat guy. He said he doesn't like Jay-Z. Dennis, you've got people that are going to be coming for you. Fans of these dudes are going to be coming for you with these takes.
Yeah, going to put a big target on my back. But yeah, I like Harry Fraud's beats, and yeah, Sob Stories is one of my favorite Action Bronson albums. He has some sick classic, because Action Bronson.
Is that a one-on-one? Is that a similar? He produces all the beats for that project type thing?
You know what? I haven't actually looked into the credits, but I think most of the beats sound similar, so it sounds like it's coming from one voice. So I would say it's one-on-one, but yeah, don't quote me on that.
Yeah. I've learned to never quote you on anything, so
yeah,
goes without saying.
Yeah,
but sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, like, the rapping, it did its thing, but I thought the production stole the show. Would you guys agree? Like, I could easily listen to this as like a beat tape, an instrumental. It wouldn't lose anything.
Yeah, I think the beats, some of the beats kind of carried some of the songs. which I think we've talked about this before, that there is cases where that happens.
Yeah, but it's interesting because normally you have like the kind of modern style is the trap beat where it's crazy and that's overpowering the song, and then you might have like a mumble rapper or someone that doesn't put effort. On this, there is the effort and the old school rapping sound, and it's a throwback sound, but the beat does the production does overshadow. While kind of I guess the normal vibe I think of with 90s rap is that the beat almost like complements it doesn't seem to overtake the rapper often, the production, but on here it kind of does in places.
I think it's an album where they're definitely at their best when they're working together. There's not much to say like which one is kind of streets ahead, if you know what I mean. Because I don't think that I don't think every single beat is like a shit hot beat. I don't think every single verse is a shit hot verse, but they both have tracks where they're the better feature, and they both have tracks where like they just gel really well together.
Well, it is really impressive. You mentioned that some of these tracks reminded you like of a Wu-Tang vibe. Like, I'm curious, like, is that more in terms of the beat? Is it more like, oh, this sounds like RZA beats, or is it more in terms of the lyrics and the flow?
It's more beat than lyric. Yeah, the like how do you say, the vocal delivery is more like if you had to pick maybe like a Ghostface or something, if you had to pick a Wu-Tang member, but
or Raekwon.
Yeah, but it's more street than like the Wu-Tang delivery, because the Wu-Tang delivery is a bit more all over the place, whereas like the delivery on this is very like kind of, it's not blocked off in boxes, but it's kind of like it's put in its place. It knows where it's got a nice nook to sit in, and it stays there, and it like.
Would you describe it as conventional? Because that's a word that came to mind as I was listening to it, because I'm so used to like all these weird out there flows. I guess if you want to make a breakout in rap nowadays, you have to have I think of like Tyler the Creator, like strange, crazy flow. You wouldn't put him in the same category as some early 2000s like Master P or
that's
something like that.
That's what I would say is almost like a minor criticism. So like, Benny fits and I like his bars. There's lots of quotables, but he doesn't feel like he's pushing himself often. Like his flow pretty much has the same flow throughout, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It goes okay, but I do feel like there's maybe a bit more effort he could put out to doing things different. Especially with the hooks, actually. So verses aside, probably my biggest flaw with the album is the hooks. Literally every hook he almost treats it like another verse, or like a spoken word section. I would have preferred just chuck a vocal feature here or two, or even he could just drop out and then the beat could switch up. Again, that's not a knock on how you throw it, but if Benny's not going to be creative with the choruses, then something else needed to fit that spot.
Yeah, for real. I mean, when you think about you're putting a song out on the market, and you got to look at what's on the market at the moment. And I've been listening as well to some Malibu by Anderson .Paak. Yeah, some of the choruses are like he basically is singing, like he's rapping, but at the same time, like he's singing. So
there's not one, looking at the track list, there's not one chorus that I when you look at a track name, the hook gets in your head. There's not one I can do. And like I said, because the production's so good and the rapping works, it doesn't detract, or it doesn't make the album bad. But you need some hooks.
Absolutely.
Some
of the songs on my bottom three are there because I thought some of the hooks were kind of like annoying. Kind of like you're trying to force this a little bit.
Yeah.
One place where they nailed it, though, I had exactly the same interaction with the choruses for 90% of the tracks, but Survivor's Remorse, I think is it's the same thing. He's doing the same thing. It's still that spoken word delivery and stuff for chorus, but it's less structured and it's less like formulaic. It's less like, here's the part A, here's the part B that rhymes, here's my part C, here's the part B that rhymes. It's less like on the beat like that, like a slow rap. It's more kind of it's more literal spoken word, and like an easier delivery, and it serves it so well because that chorus hook was like just miles ahead of the other ones, even though it's the same style. Just the delivery change made it sound a million times better than the rest of the album.
Sounds a bit remorseful because he's talking about a very heavy topic of like
his boy's going to prison and he dodged it.
There's a lot of like a reflection, you know, that classic 90s theme of albums of it, like the music reflecting the environment. There's a lot of that on this album. So this is about people going to jail. You've got Live By It, Die By It, which is all about guns and gun crime, and no instruction about selling drugs.
Yeah, I like that. It was the good balance that, again, like the other kind of other like kind of street or like gangster rappers do that I think do well is when they balance like the kind of the props, the money, whatever, you get it, the good side of the game, but then they also reflect on like the dark side. It's kind of like a tricky balance, but that is one thing he does well here with the topics. I think you need to have to make this style of hip hop where you're literally just talking. It's believable. It's real, but he balances the light and the dark pretty well in terms of the lyrical content.
For me, the goat of that is obviously Illmatic by Nas, where it just takes you on that journey. You've got Life's a Bitch. You've got It Ain't Hard to Tell. All about like life and depression and growing up in the projects. And you've got him talking to his friend in jail. I can't remember what the song title of that is. But yes,
is it One Love?
I think it is One Love. Yeah,
where it's like a letter. Yeah. And I feel it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the tracks is on my bottom 3 as well, just because I'm not such a fan of that style. At the same time, just to sort of critique that style, there's 1,001 rap albums out there about gun crime, selling drugs, and coming up, selling drugs.
Sure. What song?
Live By It, Die By It. Not a fan of songs about guns in general. I think it's all about the fact that if you have a gun, you're going to attract trouble, that kind of thing. I mean, even in the UK, you get songs about having a knife and knife crime, etc.
Right.
He does one thing. Equivalent. He's got a line that starts with AR-15s, but he does the like AR-15s. Who else is it? Where it's like, I can't remember. It's like AR-15s, AR, duck, something like that. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
That's Kendrick.
Yes. Oh my god, dude, that's been burning a hole in my brain since I heard that line. It tricked something in my mind, and I couldn't remember.
It's Mad City.
It is Mad City.
Yeah. Sorry, continue. That's my only point.
That might be ripped from like a classic song, because there was like the other one here. There was the Plug Talk track 3 with 2 Chainz, where it was like 25 lighters on my dresser. Yeah, and I know that's a famous line from like a classic hip hop act. Again, I forget the name, but it was just like
lighters on my dresser. Yes, sir. I
can hear it. I think Kendrick actually took that as well, but he didn't do the original. But I've heard it so many times, and it's just a classic line where you just hear it and it just always flows so well, no matter who says it.
Yeah, 100%. I like his. I also like Benny the Butcher's hooks that he's trying to sort of force feed down you. It reminds me as well. Like, I always compare these hooks to like Megan Thee Stallion. So Megan Thee Stallion's got her which she's trying to like get out there.
You mean the ad libs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And as I said during that, that was basically the worst one. So it goes for me from to which is D.
Wait, you're saying that's the best?
I think that's the best. I think it's so gangster, and he can use it to get in, to get out. It's so versatile.
You don't think you can get in and out on an
it's got that like vocal fry, like it's got that like, I don't like the frequencies in it, basically.
No, I hate it as well. I'm yanking your chain. Isn't this isn't his one though? Like the Butcher's Coming. Isn't that from? I think his name is as well.
Butcher's Coming.
It's from
Yeah.
It's from Gangs in New York, isn't it?
Is it? Nice. That
To be fair, that is a fucking sick ad lib. Butcher come in.
His other thing as well, though, is like he does that quite a bit. Like Butcher coming, nigga. Someone had to drop the N-bomb first.
I didn't.
It's hard. It's hard.
I didn't notice the like breathing that you just did there, but when you did it, it sounded like you sound like an RPG character who's just like had a fight or something, and they're like,
True. See what you mean? Yeah, it does sound like that. Yeah, that classic punched in the stomach sound.
Does that happen a lot on this album? I missed that entirely. I saw all the butchers come in, but
yeah, it happens quite a bit.
I didn't hear much heavy breathing myself.
I'll have to re-listen with an ASMR ear out.
First track, just after the intro verse, before he goes into the first verse, he does it.
I'll have a listen later on.
Oh, I know what you mean now. I know what you mean. Yeah. It is literally like I've ran 5 miles.
Yeah.
I'm taking a breather. I got a husky voice type.
It's the sound you make after you do a shot of whiskey.
Yeah. Or rather, he's just done like 3 rounds in like a boxing ring, that kind of thing.
Something like that.
I mean, if that's all I do after 3 rounds, I'd be pretty impressed, you know.
Yeah.
I'd be repping myself.
I would put his little hooks, I don't know, from 0 to 10, from Megan Thee Stallion to DWE, I would probably, I'd give him like a 7 out of 10. You know, it's, I can get behind it. I can see myself like getting excited in a crowd if I ever saw him live and he came out with that.
Yeah. It's not the worst I've heard. It's it's no eh.
Yeah, it's not. No, I was thinking it's no Pusha T, but
I would personally put it above, but you know, that's
you're not a fan.
That could be some personal preference, I guess. Yeah.
Fair play. So back to the album review. I actually found it difficult to find like specific sections for specific bits that I thought really stood out on the album.
Stood out positively, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, stuck out positively. Like Jack, I liked the whole album. I thought it was overall enjoyable.
Right.
But there wasn't any sort of standout. For instance, okay, I'll give you an example. How Do You recently sent out the JID Bruh remix. Fucking epic. But literally, like, there are so many things I could pick out from that song, which are just amazing. Like how he comes in with the stuttering at the beginning of, and then that like matches the beat.
I guess the subgenre doesn't lend it to it. I think when you've got like an old school like boom bappy style, it's difficult to have standout moments. I find like what you get with this style of music is you just, for me, like I don't have anything that like you know blows me away. But if I listen to the lyrics, there are just some lines where I'm like, oh, that's cold. That's cold as hell. You know, it's like you have to focus on the bars, and he's going to be talking some street shit, and you're like, oh man.
I think you can like, if you're looking for the moments, you know, rather than like ending a song and being like, oh, that was a sick journey we went on or whatever. If you're looking for the standout moments, it has to be stuff like the MF Doom turnaround lines and stuff, where you start the line with a phrase, and then you have like some wordplay for the next 2 quarters of the 4 bar, and then the final one is like the original phrase but flipped on its head because you've taken that journey over those 4 bars. So like there's definite moments to make the audience be like, oh shit, that was like how I didn't see that coming. How did that happen?
But that's what I mean. Even so, MF Doom's it's a bit of a weird example because obviously he's one of the most densely lyrical people you could get. But like if you were just casually listening to MF Doom in the background, you probably wouldn't get what makes him brilliant. You've got to focus it, and then when you're focusing on the words and trying to comprehend what he's saying in a bar or across bars, like you're saying, then you're like, how is he making this up?
So you've got to actively listen to it.
Yes, and I would say the same thing for this album. You've got to actively listen to the lyrics to get the wow moments. And for me, it was like, say, the quotable lines that were just hard. Like that's what I got.
Yeah. Well, let's start out with a bottom three, and then we can finish off on a high note with the top three. So,
Okay.
was there, to sort of switch gears a little bit? Was there what tracks sort of stuck out that you didn't quite enjoy?
Yeah. Well, so there was only one track that I would say I don't even want to say I disliked it, but there was one track that stood out as the weakest. I would say I was pretty positive through the whole album, but I thought No Instructions was pretty boring. Like that was the one track where, Harry Fraud's beat just didn't really do anything to me. It was too kind of mellow and it lacked a bit of energy. So that was a particular standout that I thought maybe could have been left off the album. The other two tracks, it was a tricky one because the tracks I liked the least were in a run, so there was a weak point to the album. But yeah, second track I didn't like was Longevity with French Montana and Jim
Really?
Jones. Well, no, so I didn't not like it. Like I said, No Instructions was the only one I was like, But, with Longevity, I just really didn't like French Montana's bit.
Yeah. Sorry, because I thought the same thing, so I did a little bit of digging. There was apparently beef with Harry and French Montana, and this was their first thing. They squashed the beef. They recorded this for this project kind of thing. So I think part of the weakness of it, because I agree, it stands out as a not as strong feature. So
it's just not one of the, yeah.
It's short because I don't think they were fully down to spend a shit ton of time together.
Right.
I think it's not something that they've probably gone back to and reworked to make it masterful. You know
That's
what I mean?
interesting.
Yeah, it was
I guess the thing for me with the song, it was I thought pretty much all the features held up across the entire album. I would actually say, aside from that, I mean, French Montana came up as very slurred and simple with his.
Fat Joe was weak.
Yeah, this thing with the Fat Joe one, I wasn't expecting anything, but I thought he went in. I thought it was all right, but yeah, I mean, my third. So again, another track in a row that I thought was one of the weaker ones. Again, like I said, there was only one I thought was weak, but the third one I wasn't that hot on was Survivor's Remorse. So again, a 3-track run of my least favorite. I mean, I like the beat on this one. But again, it was just. There was so much energy in the first half of the album that I thought these 3 tracks brought it down a bit too much for me. But I wasn't mad at them.
I think I share your feelings about Survivor's Remorse. I didn't really like the subject matter as much, and Longevity. It was okay. I mean, I think French. You say they squashed the beef. Harry Fraud and French Montana squashed the beef on this track. It's interesting you say that because I think Harry Fraud and French Montana they came up on Well, I think Harry Fraud made his name producing French Montana beats. So this is my first listen of anything that they've done together. I'm not such a fan of French Montana myself. I thought it was all right. What was the first song you say you didn't quite like? I think
No Instructions. Like I said, I mean that was the only one I would say I could probably leave off the album. It was the weakest one for me.
There is that one line. I think it's a brick doesn't come with instructions, something like that. That's pretty cold.
Well, no, so I did quote one line from it that I liked. So the line, it was, "All my OGs encourage violence. That's why I turn for guidance. My hood make your block look like the Virgin Islands," which I thought was cold. It's just one of those slick bars. But that was the only thing that I took from that song that I liked, really.
Fair play. I wasn't so hot on Plug Talk. I didn't like the chorus.
What?
I didn't really. I thought the chorus was a little bit annoying. How does? Let me pull up the chorus.
The track with 2 Chainz.
I have written the one-line chorus. It's not as strong as the rest of the track.
Yeah.
Shit.
In interviews, talking Plug Talk, got my name off a drug talk. It gets annoying after a while, but I will say, the 2 Chainz bars are fucking sick because they've got that southern drawl to them as well, which is like
Plug Talk was my favorite track.
Yeah, I've got there'll be some interesting Venn diagrams to draw from the three of us from this one, I think, listening to your guys' bottom tracks.
I don't really have a bottom three, but I have just a bottom two: Plug Talk, and yeah, one of the only two tracks I didn't like. It was your favorite, Sadie, and Live By It, Die By It, just because I think songs about guns are a bit oversaturated. Jack, what songs were you not so hot on?
I've got Live By It and No Instruction as well. We've kind of talked about it already. I've also got Talking Back, because
beat on Live By It is so fucking cold though.
I was in a similar boat to Hattie, where like there's not many tracks that I like actively just wholly disliked. But I thought compared to some of the other features, especially up to that point of the album, Fat Joe was a bit of a letdown.
I thought he was decent on this.
It was all right, yeah. But I think that on the whole of like the content that you're getting in other features, and like especially some of the tracks later on where Benny goes into some more like personal stuff rather than just like the gun talk and the street talk. This Fat Joe's verse is just like a Big L reference.
Yeah, he didn't really say anything. But I thought
of Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah,
and then
I thought his delivery was good.
And then a Gangs of New York thing, which is just shouting out the guy that got you on the track. So that's like half his verse is just that stuff.
Yeah,
but like his delivery was cool. I liked that. The first line was sick. I think that's maybe what didn't pan out for him, in my opinion, so well by the end, was that the first line hit and my expectation went straight up. I was like, damn, this could be sick. And then
when he was negative into a memory.
Yeah. I was like,
that was cold.
That's good shit. And then it didn't live up to that that opening couplet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on the whole, you know, there's not too much to hate.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, it was good to hear Fat Joe on a track, and also it was good to just that New York rappers are shouting out other New York rappers. I mean, New York was so big back in the 90s, but it seems as though the center has sort of moved. I mean, I wouldn't really know where to place a center of rap at the moment. There's all these places. LA's big, Atlanta's big, Texas.
It's probably southern, where all the hot shit is.
It's gotta depend on the subgenre, you know.
Yeah,
because like the old school wouldn't be the southern stuff, but then like probably modern.
Yeah, I mean now
is kind of but like if you know what I mean, there's still artists putting out the old school rap that would still live in like New York or maybe Chicago or something.
Yeah, I suppose if you ask the question like where's like the trend or where the trends are being followed the most, I would probably say it's based in like southern.
That's what I would say as well, because I'm thinking biggest artists, 2 Chainz, Migos.
That's something in people like the Migos and that. Yeah.
Right, let's get a bit more positive. Tracks that you did like. I liked Thanksgiving. I liked Thanksgiving as a single. I liked it. It was uplifting. It's got a nice music video.
Good outro. Good ending.
Yeah.
I wish it was longer. I really liked it. I would have loved for it to be a curtain call, or a last call, or like, you know what I mean. And to see him open up as like to see it like, because this comes off the back of Survivor's Guilt as well. We are like, oh shit, they're like, there is another level, there is some deeper stuff going, like, you know what I mean? He's got the breadth to handle that material.
Yeah.
I wanted this. Give me this at least 6-minute rap with no chorus.
Especially because the beat's so cinematic on that. Yeah. And then the guitars that come in, it's just so good. So fucking good.
Mr. Trick there.
That was the first track they made as a duo as well. Thanksgiving.
It's fucking
They
good.
fucking nailed it. Day one.
Interesting. Yeah, I like the first track as well. When Tony met Stoza, good opener, I thought.
Yeah, that was hard for an intro.
Nice beat, good saxophone sample, and yeah, and aside from that, I liked the other most of the other songs, but like I said, there wasn't really any one particular thing that I would say stuck out. Jack, give us some of your top three. What did you like about the album?
So, Survivor's Remorse is my top three. To chuck a bit of a bit of spice on the old comparison there. Like I said, the chorus delivery was the best on the album, I think, and that like there weren't tons of choruses on this. It wasn't like Drake where he had half a chorus and he repeated it 12 times. Like they weren't such a feature, but it made a big difference to this track. Like as a listening experience, getting to not hate part of the track, even if it only came up twice, was a big deal. I like that it's got a storytelling style, and it's not as much of just like, you know, it's not so much of just the content of like, you know, this is guns, this is how guns affect people, this is like the same story you've heard. It was just getting away from that, and the kind of spacey piano stuff and the bass sitting underneath that just as like a little rumble, the more kind of pared back production really coupled nicely with it. I thought it was nice as just a like complete project.
Yeah, Survivor's Remorse was decent. Like we said, it showcased that he could get deep, that he could.
It gives that balance.
Yeah, something that was lacking from when we did our Megan Thee Stallion, because it felt as though she could rap, but it's like we'd like to hear about your experiences.
Know about the real you. Yeah, for sure.
Addy, give us some of your top three.
So, well, I mean, I said it already, but my favorite track was Plug Talk. I don't know how that was one of your least favorites, dude. The beat on this track was so fucking good. Like this was, but when I got to this bit in the album on my first listen, I was like, oh shit, I'm ready for like, you know, it didn't necessarily reach that high, but when I was on this, I was like, oh shit, I could be listening to a freaking masterpiece here. I loved it. Just the haunting vocal sample, and then the almost like the kind of trappy drums. It was so good. I like 2 Chainz bit. It was just incredible.
That was my favorite from the whole album as well.
Feature or track?
Both.
Yeah.
I think as well 2 Chainz count up where he's doing the like 21, 22, 23, 24 across 4 bars. That was sick. There's not many lines or like 4-line bits I could pull from the features to be like that's sick as well, so like that made it stand out more. And also the I only care about me, I'll tell you happy birthday on the wrong day. That spoke to me on a like spiritual level.
Well, so there was one of the lines I got from that was very quotable, that was Benny's though on Plug Talk, that I loved, where he goes, cosign, I don't need one. I was a shooter, now I feed one. 100 bands in the fridge next to a stick of butter and Capri Suns. Just such a weird like reference, but it worked so well. I fucking love that track. Almost from that, I skipped it, but I also like track 2 overall with Chinks. I thought Chinks might have been potentially the best feature on the album. Like I love the sound of his kind of voice and flow. He kind of outshone Benny on this track, but paired with like the cinematic production, I thought it was really good.
I don't have the rhyme for it, but one of Chinks' lines is, "I'm shitting, ain't I need a porta potty."
Yeah,
if you got the balls to step into a booth and deliver that line with the confidence he does, like you're the shit.
Yeah, literally. We'll have to erase that line, but the rest of it was good, and I think he did the hook right on that track. So it was kind of it was good to have something different from Benny's lackluster hooks for me. And then the third track that was my favorite was Thanksgiving, the last one, for all the reasons already mentioned. It was great ending to the album.
So a decent spattering of songs that we liked. It sounds like between us, we liked the majority of the album. It's very short. It's what, 9 tracks,
Yeah.
and we've all liked at least 4 or 5 of them.
It's pretty consistent. Like I said, I mean, there was nothing. Well, there was no track I hated. There's maybe 1 or 2 weaker ones, but it was pretty consistent throughout.
Yeah, I can't get my. I don't think I'm ghetto enough to get my head around the title of the album either. The Plugs I Met. I don't understand that. Does it mean like the connects that he met, or is it a reference to like Scarface or something? I have no idea.
I've never seen Scarface, so I don't know if it's a Scarface reference.
Never seen Scarface.
What?
I've never seen Scarface.
Don't think you're qualified to review.
It's
so what, GTA Vice City just went right over your head.
Is it like isn't a plug like just like a connection though? Isn't it just like
it's a drug
like
connect, right?
I would think
presumably
so, yeah.
in Scarface it's whoever he gets the shit from.
Yeah, supplier.
Yeah, like something.
Yeah, I don't get the reference of him saying the plugs I met. It's almost like don't be snitching on your supply chain.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know.
I was on Genius, and even Genius couldn't decipher anything.
Yeah, I don't know the importance of that as a title, especially because it's a theme from the first one. But
yeah. Did either of you go back to Plugs I Met 1? Have a listen?
Haven't listened to it. I will though.
No, I think Dead End Hip Hop raved about it. It was on a lot of their top 10 lists of the year that year that it came out. Plugs I Met 1. But no, I've only heard WWCD, which I would recommend if you're into your groups.
Well, I've heard bits of the other two in Griselda, but I would say by far Benny's the most interesting as a rapper.
He seems to be sort of the most well known, the guy that's leading the charge.
Yeah, to me, he seems like the best of the bunch. He needs to fix his hook game. That's the only thing, but he can spit some decent bars.
I need to say though, my timers are fucked in the streaming software and in Zoom as well. Both of them started as negative numbers and they've been counting down. They're counting up to 0. We just crossed 0 and it started counting up. I was so scared that when it got to 0, it was gonna hang up the call because it shouldn't do that. But I didn't want to do it ahead of time and then have everyone panic and try and rush. We're good. We're good.
You had your own mini Y2K there.
Yeah, if we go back and rewatch the footage, you can just see my eyes just. Yeah. But we good.
Should we do scores?
Yeah, let's rate this. So I thought this album was a back pat. Not sure how you guys are going to feel about that. Mostly because, like I said, a lot of good bits. I think I had to change the way that I listened to the album because, like you guys were saying, you kind of need to really actively listen to the lyrics to pick out, wordplay, sick little lines here and there. And I guess I'm so used to listening to contemporary hip hop, which there's so much going on. There's all kinds of weird flows and rhythmic sections and melodies going on in the beat to pick out on. I guess I had to change my way of thinking back to, listening to early 2000s, 90s thing. But yeah, at the same time, I didn't think much stood out, but at the same time, I enjoyed the majority of the album. I probably would listen to it again, just because it sounds like a bit of a time machine. Sounds like you're going back, properly to late 90s, early 2000s. So it's back pat for me. Jack, what would you give this album?
I'd like to officially start a petition to get rid of Scratch CD and create something else that's got a more positive spin on it. And then move Megan Thee Stallion down because I think that's the one that we universally liked the least out of the two that are currently Scratch CD. Because there's the amount of Backpat albums is too damn high.
Yeah. Maybe we just need to have 5 tiers. Keep it simple. Because yeah, we could easily move some stuff down to ribbon if its ribbon's not that low.
Yeah.
So you're feeling Backpat?
I think this is Backpat, right? But I think this is way more Backpat than Drake.
But I was going to say, don't be doing your shit where you compare it to like Bungle or something.
You have to, dude.
You can't. Like, if you have
compared to all the other albums that we've listened to, like in its own right, in its own category, this is like a Backpat album. It's not Mad Fire. It's not like the documentary or something, you know. But it's like it's good. Yeah, you can listen to it. It's Backpat compared to the other stuff that we have in Backpat. If that's the whole release that we're comparing it to, this album's fucking fire.
I see what you mean.
Compared to the rest of the category, but so like you put it in a box purely based on like its very small frame, but then what's in that box, you got to compare it to the rest of the stuff that's in the box.
Absolutely. No, I'm with you, Jack.
So yeah, I think this is Backpat, in my opinion. And
there's the sorry.
Well, we take a look at the tier system.
I'm happy for reformatting the tiers if things need changing. So you got 2 Backpats. I mean that does it. It's a Backpat. I'm teetering on my ranking between Backpat and Fire. Like I actually the quality of the production, you know, how much I enjoyed the features, the bars, it kind of pushes up to Fire. It does get seriously let down by the hooks, but that's the only real major criticism I can have. So with my like reviewer glasses, looking at this compared to things in a similar genre space, I think this is, you know, up there as one of the better efforts recently.
I wouldn't be mad at putting it in Fire, considering what I've just said about like it comparing it to the rest of Backpat.
I would say the same thing.
It would be on the borderline between the two for me. I'm
definitely coming back to this album. Sorry, keep talking over each other.
I'm done. I'm done. I promise.
So have I haggled you both up?
I think so. Unless we want to like go offline and redo the tiers, I'm happy to put this in Fire because, yeah, there's 1 or 2 tracks that I'll definitely come back to, and I'd want to listen to this album again anyway. Whereas if I think of Megan Thee Stallion, I'm not going back to that.
Who?
Megan Thee Stallion, News of the World, was it?
News of the World. You mean you haven't gone back to Savage though? That was fire.
It is pretty fire.
I mean, it was fire in 2019.
Right, it's its welcome.
Yeah,
that project was just too long. That was the problem.
Yeah, real.
This is short and sweet.
I feel like there was some contractual stuff where like she got her first big release, but this many associated artists had to be on her album. You know what I mean? Like, like that sort of, or she had to release this many tracks with this many producers, and like she was used as a bit of a conduit for other people.
Sure. Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, I'm happy to do both. I think
Fire with another asterisk. Asterisk the whole fucking list.
I'm happy to put this in Fire and go back and review the tier system.
Yeah. Now let's do that. And I think maybe we put something in between, instead of taking away Scratch CD, maybe put something between Backpat and Fire.
Backpat becomes Scratch CD, and then we get like Kindling or something in between Backpat and Fire.
Yeah, because like Hattie said, like, yeah, there is like some albums where, yeah, you're gonna enjoy them a little bit more. You're gonna want to come back to them.
Yeah. So we're saying like Backpat is like an acceptable output where it doesn't do anything damaging for the genre or artist, and then Fire is like a notably good example of what they're doing. And somewhere in between, there's it doesn't do any damage, but it's not standout. It's just like quite enjoyable.
On the higher end of backpat.
Yeah. I'll Photoshop the image so it's a double backpat. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome. I'm pretty happy with that.
Cool. Any final thoughts, Jack?
I liked the trip back to the old days. I thought, yeah, it was enjoyable. I'm probably not gonna do a deep dive into the rest of the stuff and like his crew stuff and all that. But if I was in year 11, I would have immediately jumped on it and gone down that rabbit hole like that day, and then hopped onto Fruity Loops and started making beats because those beats were good.
So this guy would have inspired Harry Shroud would have been Harry Froud.
Is it Froud?
Inspired. It is Froud.
Ah.
La musica de Harry Froud.
I was thinking
Fraud.
I was thinking fraud, yeah.
Yeah.
It might be
Fraud sounds better.
But worse for gangster rap. That's why I was like, that's a brave name to pick. That's like calling yourself Stephen the Snitch.
For me, more than I would necessarily revisit many Griselda stuff. I need to hear some more of Harry Froud's production.
Harry Froud,
because he fucking killed this. Absolutely killed this.
Cool. For me, we should probably point out that Benny the Butcher and Griselda are massively hyped. You know, there are articles out there who are talking about these guys as your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. So yeah, they're making waves right now.
That reminds me. He has another sick line where he goes, just because you reminded me of it. He says something like, "Oh, they say I saved rap, but now rap saved me."
Yeah.
Which again I thought was sick.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Just a sick like braggadocio like line.
Nice bit of nice bit of wordplay. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I don't think it's their best work, but yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on Griselda and Benny the Butcher. So there we go. Benny the Butcher, the plugs I met.
I got one more thing to say. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Jack, you need to watch Scarface. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, people tell me. I just I never have the time to like dig into stuff that's old that I've missed, you know.
Fair play. That was what summer holidays were for, really.
Yeah, to be fair, maybe. Yeah, I'll give me what, like 2 months, 3 months or something. Then that'll happen. Then
movie marathon.
I'll do exclamation mark. Remind me in 3 months. I'll watch it in August.
We'll do. We could do Blow.
We'll do a film
Scarface.
Back to back with like Goodfellas.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, that's like fucking Lord of the Rings of gangster, isn't it? The fucking Goodfellas shit. That's like days long, isn't it?
2.5 hours long, something like that. Yeah.
The Goodfellas is like the gangster film for me, though. More than even like Godfather or whatever. Goodfellas is like the peak.
Yeah. What is it with all of these films and being like super fucking long, man? Like, how hard is it to tell a gangster story?
It's because they're epic. They are like, it's the come up, right? It always starts with like a character who ain't shit, and then they start like low level dealing, and then they become the kingpin.
Loads of films have that shit in, you know. That's if superheroes. I guess this wasn't a thing of the back of the day, but if superheroes have like finally managed to be able to tell an origin story and a story in their film as opposed to just one, I think like you could do that with a gangster too.
True.
Maybe.
Godfather Part 2 is still fucking 3 days long.
I'm not mad. I wasn't even mad at that. What was it? What was the one that Scorsese did recently? It was fucking long.
The Irishman?
Irishman, yeah, that was sick.
Fucking 4 hours long.
It was fucking long, man. But after when I finished it, I was like, "There's nothing I could have cut." I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, true. Too. Except for we're going way off topic, but except for there's one scene where fucking a shopkeeper's rude to Robert De Niro's kid, so he goes in, and beats this guy up, and they
smashes the window and shit.
Yeah, they do the CGI thing where they make, because it's a flashback, so they do the CGI thing where they make his face look young.
That was weird.
But
That
he
was
still
very
moves
weird.
like an old man.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, like I'm 29. I move like an old man already.
You start making noises when you bend over.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
probably
that's-
should have used like a younger actor, but apart from that, that was the one flaw in that film.
I'm trying to, when I make those noises, I'm just trying to perfect my rap hook.
Yeah. You'll hit on gold eventually.
Maybe Benny has asthma. We don't fucking know, Dennis. You're just pointing out
That's
like
true,
he
yeah,
didn't intend for this
You're
to be
his slewing
ad-libs.
the man.
Yeah.
He's just trying to give you an honest representation of his life, you know.
Why do you think he raps slow? He can't do this fucking twister shit, can he? God damn. Man's got an inhaler in 2 hands.
Yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
Benny the Butcher, Plugs I Met 2. You heard it here first. We gave it was it fire we gave it?
Yeah.
Officially
New
fire,
fire.
so say the record players. Right. Thanks for tuning in. Like us on Twitter. What's our Twitter again, Harry?
At TRP_pod. That's the record players.
Pod. Comment below. We'd love to hear what you think about Benny the Butcher, Plugs I Met 2. And yeah, like and subscribe. Thank you very much. I've been Dennis, here with Hattie and Jack. Peace.
Peace.